the sniper who terrorized Chinese forces. Runtime, 4-5 minutes, approximately 650 words. March 19, 1951. A Chinese officer steps out of his command bunker near the Imjin River. He's checking the morning positions, talking to his men. Normal routine. Then his head snaps back and he drops, dead before he hits the ground. Single shot, from over 800 yards away. The Chinese troops dive for cover. They scan the ridgeline desperately. Where did that come from? They see nothing. No muzzle flash, no movement, just another officer dead from an invisible enemy. Welcome to the world of Marine Sergeant Herbert Hancock, one of the deadliest snipers in the Korean War. 40 confirmed kills, dozens more probable, and a reputation that made Chinese commanders terrified to show themselves during daylight. Hancock wasn't special forces, wasn't some Hollywood sniper with years of elite training. He was a farm kid from Alabama who happened to be an exceptional shot, grew up hunting deer and squirrels in the woods, knew how to read wind, judge distance, stay patient. When he joined the Marines and they discovered his shooting ability, they handed him a scope-mounted M1903 Springfield rifle and sent him to Korea. The M1903 was a World War I-era rifle, heavy, bolt-action, but with an 8-power scope in the right hands, it was deadly accurate out to 1,000 yards. Hancock's hands were the right hands. Korean terrain was perfect for snipers, mountainous, long sight lines, defensive positions on ridgelines looking down at enemy approaches. A good sniper could control an entire valley, make it lethal to move during daylight. Hancock did exactly that. His method was simple but effective. He'd study enemy positions for days, learn their routines, figure out when officers made their rounds, when supply parties moved, when guards changed shifts. Then he'd find a hide, a concealed position with a clear field of fire, and wait, sometimes for hours, sometimes all day, until the perfect shot presented itself. And when it did, he didn't miss. Chinese forces learned quickly that certain areas were death zones during daylight. They started moving only at night, started using covered trenches, started sending out decoys, soldiers in officer uniforms to draw sniper fire while they tried to spot the shooter's position. Hancock wasn't fooled. He'd watch through his scope, identify the real officers by how other soldiers deferred to them, and wait for a clear shot. One of his most famous kills happened in April 1951. Chinese forces were preparing an assault on a Marine position. Hancock was observing from a ridgeline. He watched enemy troops gathering in a ravine, getting organized. Then he saw an officer directing the troops, pointing, giving orders. The range was over 900 yards. Wind was gusting. It was a difficult shot. Hancock adjusted for wind and distance, controlled his breathing, and fired. The officer dropped. The Chinese troops scattered in confusion. Without their officer to coordinate them, the assault never happened. One bullet stopped an attack that could have cost Marine lives. That's the power of a sniper. It's not just about killing enemy soldiers. It's about psychological impact. It's about making the enemy afraid to move, afraid to lead, afraid to operate normally. Hancock created that fear. Chinese intelligence identified him as a priority target. They sent counter-snipers specifically to hunt him. Hancock survived multiple attempts on his life, including one incident where an enemy sniper's bullet passed within inches of his head. He relocated immediately after every shot, never stayed in the same hide twice. That discipline kept him alive. By the time his tour ended in late 1951, Hancock had 40 confirmed kills, meaning kills witnessed and verified by other Marines. His actual count was probably much higher, but without confirmation, they didn't make the official tally. 40 was enough to make him one of the most effective snipers of the war. He came home, went back to Alabama, and lived quietly. He didn't talk much about Korea, didn't brag about his kills. For him, it had been a job, a necessary job in wartime, but not something to celebrate. He died in 1998, and most people in his town had no idea he'd been one of the deadliest snipers in American military history. But in Korea, in those mountains and valleys where he operated, his legend remains. The invisible enemy, the sniper who could kill you from a ridge you couldn't even see, the man who made Chinese officers terrified to step into daylight. Sergeant Herbert Hancock, 40 confirmed kills, the hunter who owned the Korean ridgelines. That's a story worth remembering.